Good morning. It's April 17th. This is To My Liberal Friends. By the end of September, we'll be fully into the midterm elections. Each party will have to decide what their message is to the voters. Republicans are banking on Trump's immigration and economic policies to resonate with the voters. And unless he can get some deals done on the tariff issues, this might be a problem. Democrats, on the other hand, seem convinced that their message would be a repeat only of just the one they used in 2024. This week, James Carville, the aging Democratic strategist that's still living on his Clinton reputation, and I think showing a little signs of dementia himself down here in Louisiana, announced this week that Democrats should go all in forcing the Trump administration to return a known criminal from El Salvador. Talk about not reading the room on an issue where the overwhelming majority of Americans believe any illegal immigrant with a criminal record should be sent packing. There are so many reasons to deport him. For starters, Garcia was not in the United States legally. By his lawyer's own admission, he entered the country illegally in 2011. Then 8 years later, Garcia was arrested at a Home Depot while illegally soliciting employment. The Prince George's County government police department in Maryland then transferred him to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which began deportation proceedings against him. As a defense to deportation, Garcia tried to claim asylum, claiming he was in danger from the Barrio 18 gang. But his asylum claim was denied, and the judge ordered his removal. The judge did, however, grant Garcia, quote, a withholding of removal order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, but this did not make him a legal resident. As Garcia's own lawyers admit, should the Trump administration wish to move plaintiff Abrego Garcia to any other country, they would have no legal impediment in doing so. Now, we all know that Trump sent him to El Salvador, so perhaps they should take him and send him to Colombia. See how that works out. Well, off to El Salvador went Maryland Senator Van Hollen to plead the case of this criminal, calling him a Maryland dad and demanding that he be allowed to meet with Garcia. Of course, he was denied by the El Salvadorian government, and he got what he really came for, a photo op for the liberal media back in the States. Then we have the Democrats, for the most part, falling on their sword over the issue of biological males competing against girls in sports. There was one legislator in Pennsylvania, Lindsey Williams, saying that female athletes are physically comparable to male athletes and don't face any biological disadvantages. Now, I'm not sure what drug she's on, but it has to be something that causes hallucinations. The average height of a female is 5 foot 3 inches, and the average male is 5 feet 10 inches. That does not take into consideration the difference in bone structure and density. It does not allow for the larger muscle mass that males have when compared to females. But she's up to her own opinion, and I guess she can have it. The governor of Maine has decided to fight this out in court, and she's apparently not read any of the polling. It shows 80% of the public does not want biological males competing against females, and that includes a strong majority of those identifying as Democrats. On the general issue of immigration, Democrats are still defending the Biden policy that basically allowed for open borders, and the result was somewhere between 5 and 10 million illegal immigrants to cross the border. California itself is facing a massive multi-billion-dollar deficit because of health care for these immigrants. Under Biden, there was little to no enforcement, and all those immigrants had to do was turn themselves in, make some basic claim about amnesty, which most knew was false, and they were here for economic reasons, and the Biden administration simply allowed them to move somewhere in the nation with a notice to appear some years down the road. The final issue I want to talk about today is a claim by Democrats that somehow we're giving up on democracy by not electing them to lead the country. They ignore that Trump not only won the Electoral College convincingly, winning all 7 swing states, but he also, for the first time in 2 decades, won the popular vote. That was democracy in action, but Democrats refuse to understand that fact. They've resorted to name-calling once again, referring to Trump as a dictator and a fascist. In summary, the Democratic Party does not have a message that appeals to the public. They're tired. The public is tired of their culture wars, and they are worn out by the big government solutions that led to 9% inflation. The voters were tired of the government shutting down the nation during a pandemic and then refusing to acknowledge the true source of the virus. Republicans have a chance during 2025 to make a positive step forward. Trump needs to get the tariff trade deals done. His administration needs to find the waste and fraud in government spending. He needs to bring that spending down. Congress needs to pass a budget that has restraints on government spending. Congress needs to get a budget and tax bill done, as well as a strong border control bill. If they can accomplish these tasks, while Democrats are singing from the old hymn book, then Republicans can keep majorities and keep on winning elections. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. I won't be doing one until next Monday with the Easter weekend coming up.